Child, it's a hot mess. So, welcome back. This is like very impromptu because I'm supposed to be filming something else, but I just had to sit down and talk about what's been happening in the last 24 hours. So, forgive me, but I'm thirsty, so I'm gonna drink throughout this video. I'm in like my little cardigan that I wear around the house. This is very impromptu. So in case you've been living under a rock or you don't watch the news, you don't know what's going on in the world, last night, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry sat down with Oprah and spilled all kinds of tea. Like, I can't even stop thinking about this, talking about this. I have feelings, what is going on? These are like bombshells. Like, I don't know. I can't even believe all this like transpired and people like didn't know, didn't say anything. It's just a little too much. So basically, if you don't know, Meghan Markle, actress, got with Prince Harry. They got married a couple years ago. They had a baby boy named Archie. But it was this big deal that, what was it, in 2019, sometime in the last year, well, 2 years, it's 2021, Alexis, get it together. They left the palace. They called this Megxit. They, basically said it was all Meghan's fault. This is why they left. And, the tabloid stories about her have been horrible since like day one after the wedding. Like, it's just, they kept going in on this woman. And so, they left. They live in America now. They're focusing on other projects like her being an actress, them, getting with different streaming platforms. If you can see that reflection, I have windows, so I can't do anything about that with my mirror. So just ignore that. But anyway, so that's what they've been up to. They left Great Britain. They're living in America. They're not affiliated with the palace or sticking to those, royal duties or whatever. They're just living life free, basically, like as they put it. So anyways, Meghan's pregnant again, baby number 2. She sits down with Oprah. First bombshell, well, she doesn't reveal it first. She waits till Harry comes out. They're expecting a baby girl. Congrats to them. I'm a Meghan stan. Meghan and Harry stan to the day. No fodder about them will be tolerated. Don't come here with that. So she basically explained, and Harry explained, because they, she sat down with Oprah and then Harry joined them. What was going on during all those months. Here's a couple of things I had a problem with. Well, not a couple. It's really just this one. She said, going into it, even up until the wedding, like, or during the wedding, she didn't even know, like, she didn't know what to expect from this life. And she didn't know how, she would acclimate. She didn't know what all it really like entailed being a royal, like throughout the day to day. She kind of had a general idea, but she didn't do any like research or look anything up. And I don't know, I just found that like weirdly odd to believe. Like, I guess that was just like her prerogative. She was just gonna go with the flow and just, concentrate on being married and try to enjoy that time and then go into more of the day-to-day basics. Like, she could learn as she went. And I don't know, me being who I am as the Virgo truest form of myself, I would need to know the lay down, the structure, the lay of the land, get me prepping now before we, get married and do all this. Like, what do I need to know? What is my life going to be like? She said things, once you get married and all this and you're in this royal family, like, they take away your passport, your driver's license. So like, literally, you can't just like go on to Starbucks or like book a trip here and go here. Everything is like an itinerary. You have people, public relations, you have people, deciding what your every move. Like, she even said, I wanted to go eat with a girlfriend and they said, well, Meghan, you're out in the press everywhere. You're just oversaturated. And she's like, I haven't been out the house in months. It's not my fault these people are talking about me. So I see her perspective there. But I just didn't see how she didn't think about these little things. Like, what would my day-to-day life be like once I'm marrying a prince? It seems like something you would want to know, or, ask a couple of questions. But maybe that's just me. She also said that, there was a story about her making Kate Middleton cry. And this came out around the wedding time. And she was like, it wasn't in fact, me, it was kind of the opposite way around. But she did explain, it was high stress around the wedding time. There was something about a little flower girl dress. I don't know, child. But you know how weddings are. And Kate was upset about something and it made Meghan cry. But Kate apologized and sent her flowers. So it's nothing, it's like water under the bridge. She doesn't want to rehash that. But that was just an example of how the media and spun these stories. And she didn't know who the source was. It's obviously someone from, the firm, the camp, the British royal camp. Someone is leaking these really weird stories and taking real scenarios and twisting them to make Meghan look bad. And that's kind of an iffy situation there. I agree with her. Like, they protect and kill so many stories, but like the way the media came at her and she was like not protected from that was like kind of really ridiculous. Like, come on now. They're protecting Prince Albert left and right. Beautiful. But not her. It didn't add up. Like 2 + 2 is not equaling 4. So I agree with her there. Like, these articles are trash. And if you follow on Instagram the account Shit You Should Care About, they literally show slides back to back of these articles, and it literally was one with like Kate Middleton holding her baby bump and being like, oh my god, Kate's so cute. And then when Meghan would do it, it'd be like, why is Meghan always holding that? Like, is she just so stuck up? And like just random stuff. And like, oh, Kate is so stylish. And then it's like, Meghan has a Vogue article about her. We don't want a style icon like princess. Just this narrative, and it would literally be written by the same people. Like, Kate is the good princess and Meghan is the bad princess. We don't want her. We want Kate. And it's just like, what was your reason? Was it because she's an actress from America? Was it because she's the first multiracial, member of the royal British family? Either one of those is kind of shitty. One's way more shittier than the other, but either one is kind of like, so what? Like, whatever. So I agree with her on that. And dealing with the stress of the wedding, and being like having this like whirlwind, you're going into this hamster wheel circle of something completely different. I can see how it weighed on her mentally, and then having all those tabloid stories about her, and then like you're trying to get pregnant, you lose a pregnancy, and then you have a baby and you have all these hormones and things. Like, that's just how women's bodies works. Maybe she was more sensitive to stuff. Maybe she wasn't, but that's a lot to deal with at one time. And, Harry is going through it with his family. He pretty much says the straw for him, he already knew Meghan was unhappy. He didn't like the way things were being handled. She wasn't really protected. Their images weren't protected. And they were just kind of going through the motions. And then all of a sudden, when Archie is born, it's like, he's not going to be a prince. We're not going to give him security detail. And they're like, but what was the reason? And, neither one of them could give a reason. It's either A, they didn't want to say the reason and they knew it, or B, no one ever gave them an answer. I feel like someone gave them an answer and they just didn't want to say the obvious answer. But I mean, if that allegation is true, that no one wanted to give Archie protection, or then like in turn Meghan protection. By protection, I mean like security detail, making sure that they were taken care of. That's kind of odd. Like, literally every member of the family is protected, and then all of a sudden the one that is multiracial is not. It's not a good look, and it's a huge allegation. So, and I mean, why would they lie? Like, it seems iffy when they say like, what was the reason for that, and they can't give a reason. But dealing with the Brits, the royals, not the Brits, the royals, you have to think this is like one of the most powerful families in all of the land. What happened to this boy's mother, Harry, I'm speaking of? Like, when to skate. They knew very well when to skate that line. They're saying these things happen, but they can't go deeper into it. So they're careful and calculated in what they say, not for the reason of being manipulative. I think they're truly frightened because of things that have happened in the past. And who wouldn't be? Like, come on, we all know I think it's more than a conspiracy theory that something happened to Diana because she was so forthcoming about things, and she didn't have the proper protection, and then the paparazzi were just like swarming her at all times. All of that was a perfect storm that had a direct effect in her death. And I think Harry was starting to get triggered and see these signs. Tabloids always writing these things about Meghan. Paparazzi wants these shots. Their son and her aren't getting protection. It's again like this perfect storm that something could happen to them. So I agree there. It was time, do you be happy? Just because you're a part of this and your family is toxic doesn't mean you have to stay. The other huge, like supernova thing that they said is that, when Meghan got pregnant, someone in the British royal family was like, well, how dark is Archie gonna be, or what's he gonna, like, his skin tone gonna look like, kind of that. And the way they said this conversation transpired is that it was awkward. It wasn't like, oh my God, you're pregnant, congrats. Like, I wonder who's the baby is gonna look like. Is he gonna have Harry's eyes, Meghan's hair? Who's gonna be taller, their ears? You know how people talk about babies, like, is the baby gonna look like the dad? Is the baby gonna look like the mom? Like, naturally people ask that, but no, they said it in a way that it was negative, like, I wonder how dark the baby's gonna be, or like if it's gonna be like look white or something like that, or not look too ethnic. That's how it was implied to the audience. And when Meghan and Harry said it, it implied with negative connotations. So that is something so rude, so racist that, someone could actually say, and that's related to you? Like, oh. And the way they say it, it really was just like shocking. Like, even Oprah was like, wait, what? Like, who said that? Like,
who said that? Who said that?
You couldn't even believe it. Like, you could hear a pin drop when that came out. And so, I have my theories on who it is. Oprah did come out today on CBS this morning, and she said, Harry would not tell me off camera, would not say it. That man said, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to ever say who it was that said that. He's sticking his grounds, which, again, he's smart. He's not going to, throw someone completely under the bus, and it's going to be this whole big thing with cancel culture. And then, people, they may face retaliation. They may face retaliation for just saying that, honestly. But anyway, so Harry said off camera to Oprah, I want you to just make it clear that it was not my grandmother, the Queen. We stan her. I actually kind of do stan her. Meghan said she was nothing but nice to her. Nothing they think is from the Queen. They have a good relationship there. They have nothing but respect and love, blah, blah, blah. And it's also not from Prince Philip, her husband, the Queen's husband. So he wanted to make that clear that those two people did not say that, and they have nothing but respect and love for them. Now, Harry did say that, in order for them to even have this new life in America, and for them to leave the palace, which it wasn't ever like their choice to fully leave. They just wanted to, there's many different levels and roles in the British royal family. And, sorry, people are doing my grass and stuff like that. So ignore that background noise. I can't help that. So, they didn't want to be like, have senior, this is rude. They didn't want to have like senior responsibilities. They wanted to maybe downgrade their responsibilities into the royal family and have, a more like normal life. They were willing to work with them on things, and, it really wasn't happening for them. The family said, or, the firm or whatever said no. So Harry said that he ended up being cut off for like most of 2020, or like half of 2020 or something like that. And him and his father, Charles, did not speak, but, they're speaking now. So that's something, to be noted. This man got cut off, right? And they were fleeing. They were trying to find somewhere else to live. And actually his money that his mother, Diana, left him actually allowed them to move and like have security and be secure. And, random, they found like safe haven with like Tyler Perry. I don't know if Oprah like was like, Tyler, take them in until they could get a house, for a couple of months. I just thought that was so random. Anyways, so you know, his mother's money allowed them to come move and have security and have this life. He had that nest egg because, baby, the British royal family cut him off. Capiche. And, you know, he's not anymore. And him and Charles are talking. They're mending, you know, their relationship. They weren't talking most of, you know, 2020, he said. But the tea is, Oprah was like, what about William? I'm still laughing at this. Harry was like, you know, that's my brother. We grew up the same kind of way. I always have love for him, but we're on different paths. That basically is like, that's family, but I don't F with them like that. Like, that's my blood, but they're toxic. Basically, that's what the man said, period, point blank. He stood on 10 toes and said that. I have theories. William is definitely the one that was like, what's Archie's skin tone gonna be like? It has to be him. I cannot see someone forgiving even a family member for saying it if it was said in that negative kind of connotation. Which, you know, maybe they passed words, there was some education on why you can't say that, but from the sounds of it, it was like him and his brother were like chit-chatting. His brother said that. Harry ran it back to Meghan. Meghan didn't like it, obviously, and it just was this thing that they couldn't get over. To me, he basically confirmed it without really confirming it. Who said that? And like, you know, for you to not talk to your brother, it has to be a reason besides, you know, we're older, you know, blah, blah, blah. We have families. We just don't have time to talk. Besides, like, I quit the family business. Like, it's something deeper there. So my money is on him for sure. It's on William. William said that, period, point blank, with his beaver looking ass. Anyways, it's so funny though that like William peaked in like college and is like, no. And and Harry is like it now, like a total zaddy, standing by his woman. That's his family. He's gonna protect them. What you did to my mother is not gonna happen to my wife or kids. Period. I mean, we love to see it. I stand Meghan and Harry. But yeah, that's pretty much what all happened. Everyone is reeling on who said that about Archie's skin. Like, they can't let that go, as they shouldn't. So I feel like this story is not gonna die down. And I feel like it may get worse. Who knows? It may be the end. Something honestly needs to happen to Prince Albert. Like, Epstein Island, like what they protect that man. Why couldn't they protect Harry and Meghan from all these like trashy little tabloids? Like, honestly. And also another thing, Piers Morgan, I cannot stand that man. He's always talking about women. He is one of the people that has said some of the nastiest things about Meghan Markle. And why has nothing happened to him? Why has no ban on him been made, you know, by the royal family? Like, they have the most power in the world. Stop talking about her. Stop talking about women, period. He talks about Meghan all the time. He hates Kim Kardashian. For what reason, we don't know. He cannot stand Tess Holiday. Like, he loves to bash women. And I have a certain thing about men who love to bash women. I like to think of them as bitches. Like, okay, you want to talk shit? You're on a bitch level. Like, come on, let's go outside and handle this. Really, like, you wouldn't talk about a man like that. So why are you talking about women and their bodies and what they do? It's just gross. It's 2021. Can we end that? Ugh, he just disgusts me. But that's pretty much what I wanted to sit down and talk about. I had to get it off my chest before I film something else, because I'm about to film something else. It's just like the tea, like, oh my God. I cannot. So yeah, comment down below what you think. Are you team Meghan and Harry, team British royal family? Like, who do you think said this Archie comment? We know who it was. You know, just if you tuned in, let me know in the comments down below. Follow, subscribe. I got a lot more stuff coming. Tap the bell, all that good stuff. Hit me up on Instagram. I'll put it somewhere over here. And I'll see you next time.